Yes, this is named AF Screen International Collaboration. Essentially, a group of enthusiasts got together at last year's ESC, formed a steering committee, and our aim was to promote the discussion, the study, and the promulgation of screening for atrial fibrillation as a way to reduce stroke. In that year, we've grown to 116 members from 31 countries. Our members include, as well as cardiologists and electrophysiologists, we have general practitioners, general physicians, neurologists, stroke neurologists, pharmacists, health economists, statisticians and epidemiologists, nurses, physiotherapists, pharmacists. So the idea is that all of these people have a role to play in promotion of screening. And importantly, we include two representatives of patient organisations, the Atrial Fibrillation Association and another one from the United States. Of course, patient input is very important, and they're very strong advocates. We have only just met to produce a consensus document which has been drafted by about 60 of our members, and we have voted on a number of consensus recommendations which we'll put to the whole membership. And the idea is that we hope to have this published in the next few months in JAMA Cardiology, a new journal very interested in promoting organisations like us which don't have any affiliation with any body and are truly a global organisation. Well, the only guideline that currently, the only national or, shall I say, the only continental guideline that really has any recommendation at all is the ESC guideline. And in the 2012 guideline, there was only one recommendation for opportunistic screening during pulse taking. And that's with pulse taking during practice, followed by an ECG if irregular. That's been increased this year, but every other guideline, large guideline, is silent on atrial fibrillation screening. So one of our remits is to try and, by promoting discussion, by having symposia on it, by publications, that things will change and that guidelines may start to recommend them. We also need to look at what do the National Screening Society need before they will recommend screening. In what ways can we do it? How can we band together to get more information? So there are a lot of things that we would like to do, but our very first task was to get a consensus document written, and we're very close to that. And our next task is to get symposia at national meetings. And I'm very pleased to say at the American Heart Association, we have a joint symposium with the American Heart Association precisely to talk about screening for atrial fibrillation to reduce stroke. I mean, one of the things that people don't realise is that a third of all strokes, a third of all ischemic strokes are related to atrial fibrillation. And about 10% of all ischemic strokes, the atrial fibrillation is only first detected at the time of the stroke. Now to us, because if you go out looking in the population, you find silent atrial fibrillation at high risk, it seems pretty logical that if you go out looking and treat it, you will reduce stroke. So that's really the rationale behind it. But in the end, we may need a big study which will require some collaboration across countries, and that's why the international collaboration is important to produce the evidence that will strengthen the evidence base to allow us to recommend it more strongly. But at the moment, the ESC guideline that's just come out has strengthened its recommendations on screening, and that's a great start. We now need to see the same happening in America. We do have a website which we've just recently set up. Website has a bibliography of screening studies, and we hope to populate it with what's ongoing in screening with atrial fibrillation. This is a work in progress. It will also have on it all of the country-specific areas where we think something is happening or we could do something. There's the Atrial Fibrillation International Collaboration website, which we will give to you so that anyone interested in this could have a look at the website and see what we're up to.